This is the North End. This is the North End.
Welcome to the North End. It's a football preview show, Premier League football preview show. I'm here with Mr. Luke Connolly and Mr. JP California. We are without a couple of our regulars today. We'll get them at some point, but let's start with you, Luke. You, how you doing, brother? You've moved back. Have you moved back? Is that true? Don't forget to unmute your mic. I know I got you guys to mute it in advance.
That's okay. Consider me unmuted, my friend. No,
go.
I haven't moved back. I am currently in Mexico, so I'm at least on the right time zone. And they have. That's why I'm dripping wet because they've just decided to have a thunderstorm. So that's fun.
That's
yeah, on the way back to North America. Not sure where I'm headed. I think it's going to be Alabama for other reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you going to Alabama? Is there a woman there? Is there a woman there, Luke?
Not yet, but who knows in the near future maybe. But,
have you been to Alabama before? Do you know? Anyway, we'll talk about it offline. I lived in Georgia. You'll be okay in that sense. But I lived in Georgia, just right next to Alabama, and it is some Hickville there, buddy. Good luck with that.
Apologies to viewers.
Sorry for the viewers.
Yeah, it's not a terrible place at all.
Anyway, JP, in another part of the U.S. that's a little bit more friendly, as they might say.
We haven't had rain in some time. It's 82 degrees, warming up quite a bit. And not having any rain is pretty nice.
Yeah.
You know, apparently I owe a solid beer chug or chug. This is a high noon. So I'm going to chug this shit and get it out of the way. I feel like I should just do this now, right?
Yeah, I think you should. I think that's just to let everybody know why you're doing this, though.
I don't remember. Apparently, I didn't lose 100% at something, but I did lose. Like, it was... I don't remember.
As you do that, JP, I'm going to slowly eat this banana.
Chug it. Let's go. Come on.
I kind of want to see the banana more. It's a high noon, nice 4.5. It's a vodka soda. Watermelon flavor, and never had one. So here we go.
What's happening?
It's not bad. Right, I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's still one of those wee ones like Connie was doing as well. It's not a bit of a piss take. It's bubbly. It's harder to get down.
The bubbles.
Yeah,
goddamn carbonations.
Yeah, it's killing you. Nicely done, buddy. Nicely done. Well, that's what we do here. We make sure that step up and meet the demands of a lost bet.
Yeah. And I want to bring the bets back full game. I think we should have bets at least once an episode.
So AFCON final happened today, guys. Anybody catch it? Anybody watch it?
I did. And Egypt win, is it their second in 3 years or 4 years? Like they won a couple of years ago, didn't they?
I believe so. Didn't they lose though? Didn't
they did. They lost.
Sorry, they did. They did. Yeah,
in a penalty shootout, right? 4-2, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was, and it was a great shootout. And obviously the fairy tale, it was obviously going to be one of the Liverpool guys they reckoned who was going to take it, and obviously Egypt missed the penalty, and Mane steps up and cool as a cucumber, bottom left hand corner.
Did Mendy have anything to do with did he save any of the pens? I heard...
Yeah, he did. He made a save. It wasn't great. Mendy had a bit of a rough game actually. He did it. There was a couple of times Egypt had balls into the box, and Mendy. Do you remember since that he had that incident a while back, and he just hasn't looked that sharp as he's been?
He got lost his confidence a touch, didn't he? It seems.
Yeah, and he looked at, unfortunately again today, like balls coming in, he didn't dominate. Like and if Egypt were better, they would have scored. But Cameroon's first ever AFCON. Senegal's first ever African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's funny to see that Liverpool battle between the two best forwards on that team, and arguably in the league at the moment are two of the best. Paul Forrest says Paul couldn't join us today, but he's going to be in the comments. He's hanging out with his kid, but he's kind of right in that. It looked like a juice box more than just a little straw out there.
Full one, man.
Child drinks. You and Connie both like have an actual pint for fuck's sakes. It's a bit.
I don't drink that much actual beer. Actually,
Well, you know,
Per
an
se.
actual
I
can
moved
would have
on to
been more
seltzers quite a
appropriate.
bit.
Paul says the bet was about Kevin Friend being
That's
dropped
what it
this week from
was.
officiating because of the handball he called.
I mean, if
Yeah.
he's going to comment this much, maybe Mr. Forrest should just join us and stop.
Well, he's like I
bitching out,
said,
but
he's
no.
got his kid sitting beside him. We don't want the kid.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Kids
Cheers,
ruin
Paul, for being in the
everything.
comments. Yeah.
Luke's words,
So-
not mine.
So
Can I say something about the African Cup of Nations real quick?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So I was watching, and there's a really good commentator who said, you know what? No one gives as much shit to the World Cup, to the Euros. And so for all these European clubs giving shit to players going to AFCON, he said it's complete bullshit. And like the amount of kind of quiet racism was so prevalent. But I have to say, after checking out some games and also knowing what happened at AFCON, it's kind of a load of crap. His argument isn't like Euro or the World Cup because those are run so much better. AFCON had a stampede happen with like 20 people dead.
Yeah,
they had
brutal.
a referee who called the game early and then had, they're saying, oh, he had heat stroke and he was dehydrated.
Oh, it's incredible, man. It's incredible how much corruption.
Oh,
very
it's
corrupt,
so bad. And it's like
about as bad as it gets, really.
So I don't know why people, and I get why people are trying to defend it. Like you want players to go and represent their countries and stuff. Some of these players are not near the quality that are put into the World Cup and the Euro. I mean, some of these guys are coming from small clubs in Africa itself. They're not coming from European nations. So like I'm not playing racism here. I'm just saying the quality just isn't there. So I'm not surprised that some clubs don't want players like Mohamed Salah to go to AFCON. Yeah, it's a huge risk.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you can't stop them though, JP, can you? Like it's their passion. It's that the pride of playing
for the
your
country.
country.
I'm not hating on players playing, but
No, I think Salah would give it all up to play for Egypt. I know he's the world's greatest player right now, and unbelievable stuff at Liverpool. But I like how passionate he is about his country and what it means to him. I honestly think if you made him pick, he'd pick Egypt. I really believe that, and it's
100%.
And the same. And imagine how the Senegalese are feeling right now, having
they're probably over the moon.
Oh man, and Mane is such a professional. He's just I could watch Mane play every day. Like he doesn't give up on anything. He's such a great player.
Sadly, looks to be replaced.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
I think he's.
Maybe if he's
Diaz?
Louis Diaz. Yeah, he played in the FA Cup today.
Yeah,
FA Cup today FA Cup weekend as well. It was pretty entertaining. There's some great moments of very close. West Ham almost got knocked out. Man U did get knocked out. I mean, maybe that's why the Man U boys aren't here today. They're a little just whingy pricks like they usually
are. That's it.
Didn't want to talk about it.
Connie and Paul aren't
want to talk about it. Spurs on to the next round. Drew Middlesbrough, which is a good draw for them. What is that other team that beat Bournemouth today? I can't remember the name of the team. They're like non-league. The only non-league. Yeah, non-league, but something Borough. Yeah, not only non-league team left, 5th division, playing against Everton. In the FA Cup,
Luke, you kind of look like a bad guy from like an old like Die Hard movie or something, where it's like, I need the prisoners of war returned to us, or you will have all your people killed.
All right, let's get back to the football, boys.
I was gonna say, we should probably talk some football here, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Well, we were talking football, and JP's losing the plot a little bit.
I waver.
It's okay, JP. It happens, buddy. All right, well, let's get into the Premier League. I mean, the FA Cup was entertaining. There's lots of stuff going on there, but this is a Premier League podcast and YouTube channel. So let's bring up what we got coming up. We're going to preview this coming week's fixtures, Tuesday fixtures. I'm just going to bring these up here. We got Newcastle Everton at what is 2:45 Eastern time. Newcastle versus Everton. Man, Newcastle, not a good team, but Everton haven't won in 4 losses in their last 5. Really, really crap at the moment. Of course, new manager in with Lampard. This is the first game in the Premier League. He did manage Everton in the FA Cup over the weekend and had a great result, scored 4 goals. Looked more organized, more confident, new manager bounce. Any thoughts, Luke, on what we might see in this fixture? Everton going to sort of step up now that they maybe have a manager that might suit them more with some attacking football?
I think you'll see immediate response and call to action from Frank. He's a fantastic manager. I think we also have to remember that Newcastle are going to be showing off their 445 new players. So
It's true.
Matty Target at left back, and they didn't bring
Deli and Van de
crazy
Beek at
talks.
at Everton as well. It's going to be an opportunity for a bunch of new players and a new manager.
It's going to be an interesting time. And Newcastle haven't got a bad run of form. And if you were looking, a bad run of fixtures, and if you were looking for fantasy options, because obviously a lot of new names, that they've signed some very interesting players. And then also Burnley haven't got a bad run coming up, and they've signed that gigantic striker, wasn't he? Was 6'6"?
We're not talking about Burnley yet. Burnley is
no, I'm just saying. I'm just
fantasy.
saying,
just generally. Fantasy.
But yeah,
I get you. Yeah.
I think this is I think it's an Everton win. I'm gonna call it. I think they're gonna step up. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Van de Beek and
Deli right in
the starting lineup. I really believe it. And
they both should be fit, right?
Yeah, there's no reason. They've both been training. They've both been, they've both been keeping fit. It's just, will they play a full game? Will he bring on one? It's not sure, but I actually think it could be a very cool game to watch.
I think so too. I like seeing new players and new coaches and kind of like how they're going to fit. And it's sort of the second half of the season, so it's a bit of a refresh. JP, thoughts on this game?
Just a real quick. I think Everton have enough to get a result. It'll be interesting because Newcastle have to bed in so many guys. We keep talking, hey, they bought everybody, but you also have to get those guys to then play a style of football, and you don't want to wait too long to get them into a team. So it's going to be really interesting. If Newcastle win, they will be 1 point behind Everton and potentially out of the bottom three.
Yeah, they are tight right there, aren't they?
It's Everton in 16th with 19 points, Norwich in 17th with 16 points, Watford in 18th with 15 points, Newcastle in 19th with 15 points, and Burnley in last with 13 points. So that bottom five is tight. I mean, you got 4 teams within 4 points for 2 spots to get out.
Speaking of Watford, heading to West Ham to play at 2:45 as well. This is a bit of an ugly one as well. Watford, new manager, of course, as well. West Ham also dropping as far as the quality is concerned lately. 2 teams not really firing at the moment. West Ham had a few wins. They lost their last 2 though, and Watford haven't won in I don't know how many games. It's absurd. Hard to say what we're going to see here, but what are your thoughts, JP? Watford, West Ham. I mean, West Ham should be comfortable.
I feel like West Ham have just, with the 2-week break, and if I'm not mistaken, they didn't have a lot of people go to AFCON. I think they got plenty. I think they got more than enough to take care of Watford. I could see this being an easy 3-0 win. And really giving Watford kind of a humbling before going on. I mean, they hired Roy, right? They hired Big Roy.
They did. The Hodgson man is there. I watched them in the FA Cup over the weekend, and they looked certainly more organized and more resilient. They got their first clean sheet in 13 games or something like that, which is pretty crazy. It was a 0-0 draw. It was pretty boring, but But it was no goals scored against them for the first time in weeks or months, which is something to be said about what Hodgson can potentially bring to this team, because they're just shipping goals all the time. So, Luke, what are your thoughts on this fixture?
It's a very interesting fixture. Yeah. Did Watford was Saar at the African Cup of Nations?
He was.
Yeah. He'll be back, and he came on, I believe, in the FA Cup second half, and
Oh, okay.
Big player. Big player they're missing.
Massive player. Yeah. I think you're going to see a West Ham bounce back here. I think they're West Ham are going to take the points, and I think Watford are in big trouble. They picked up a lot of early points, but if you actually watch them, I don't know if you boys have watched them much, but the football they play isn't. You see 1 or 2 players out of it, and they don't really do a whole lot. So
they're very average.
Yeah, very, very average.
Hodgson never been relegated, in the Premier League.
I'd be okay with them making it up.
Putting a risk, taking a risk, losing that lovely statistic for Hodgson. But I think you guys are right. I think West Ham should take this. It should be pretty comfortable for them. But they haven't been in good form themselves. They struggled to get past a non-league side in the FA Cup with a pretty strong team over the weekend, and didn't look very.
But everyone struggled, man. Everton struggled. Chelsea struggled.
Spurs didn't, but yeah.
Well, yeah, for one week you didn't struggle. Calm down.
Comfortable. Oh, we're unbeaten in the league except for one game. One game we lost in the league since Conte's coming. Anyway, we won't get into that.
Well. I was going to say though, really quickly, guys. We know Roy Hodgson's got an incredible CV. In the football world, he's
insane.
Married international with I think 2 international teams. He's done
3.
He's done 3. Is it?
Hold on, I got research for this week's next.
Yeah, I know. I think England, Qatar. Was it Qatar or he did a Middle Eastern country? I'm sure. But anyways, the point I was going to say, Brian, while JP is looking it up, is he's also very old now. Like what
He's
what
like
can a manager
72.
of that age be bringing? Like what is he physically able to say? Because it's not like he's running around and showing them new drills, is it?
I think it's a especially for a team that's fighting relegation and in that sort of. I think it's just a really simplifies everything and organizes. It tries to go back to the basics. I think when a manager like that is very old school, so it's a 4-4-2. It's exactly what you're meant to do in that position. It's really specific to that, and if you play that system simply and everybody plays for each other, then there's more structure in it. And I think that's what he's going to try to bring to them. Is it too little, too late? Probably. And I think they'll probably still go down, but I do think they will be harder to play against because of it. And I think that's what he offers, and that's not a heck of a lot, but it is something compared to what they were doing previously. So
I got his CV real quick. Check this. He managed in Sweden, Italy, and Denmark all before he started doing some of the bigger clubs in England. He's also done the national team for Finland, Switzerland, and the United Arab Emirates.
Oh, that was what
there you go.
UAE.
UAE.
Was he not England manager for a while? Am I making things up?
No, I think he was too.
Yeah, he was England manager. Yeah.
How did I not have that one down? Wow.
I don't know. You just
I don't know.
Fail, JP. Fail.
But the crazy thing was he did a lot of European clubs before he did bigger clubs in England. So I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. He was in Europe doing club. Yeah, he's well traveled.
Pretty good success in that CV as well. He's done all right wherever he's gone, and like I said, risking that never been relegated with Watford. I don't think he can pull this one back, unfortunately. Really 3:00 game, Burnley, Man U. Man U travel to Burnley. Never a fun place to go, that Burnley, especially this time of year. Man United,
Wet night in Stoke. I mean, Burnley.
Man United coming off a loss in the FA Cup to Middlesbrough. Not playing good football at the moment. Man United. No. They started off in that game at the weekend in a different system. It was a bit more of a less of that German 4-2-2-2 thing that he's been trying to insist on doing that hasn't worked for them so far. Burnley, difficult team to play against, but Man United should have enough. Luke, what do you think? What do you think we'll see in this match?
It's really hard to say. I don't really know what's going on at United. They really are a club in turmoil. I saw okay.
You don't agree?
They haven't won a trophy in 5 years, and they've just been knocked out of the FA Cup in a truly awful performance. They've not won remember, just once more time, they've not won a trophy in 5 years. This is Manchester United.
Can I say something too? They have never won a penalty shootout ever in the top flight.
What a fact!
In the FA Cup.
In the FA Cup, they've never won an FA Cup shootout, which is crazy. Ever. And just even a small little thing with West Ham sat above them in our preview list here. Declan Rice in an interview in the last week was asked if he could pick one player, and it was that the big game, and it was to win the international tournament or whatever it might be, the Champions League. One player to hit that one winning penalty, who would it be? It was Ronaldo, and Ronaldo misses a penalty in the game. It couldn't have happened any sweeter. It was unbelievable. But I think, honestly, Burnley could shock them. Burnley have made some really
I think Burnley could
hold
them to a draw. I think would be the shock, and I think that could happen.
They got 0-0 or 1-1 be a shock. But on the flip side, I watched the game. I didn't feel it was as negative as everyone's made it out. I just feel like the key guys missed their opportunities. Cristiano Ronaldo, PK, how many freaking times does he actually miss a PK? Like, he didn't hit the target. That's not a team
performance.
Fernandez
missed a sitter wide open net.
That's not team performance, though. That's individual
But that goes through the team as a confidence problem when you can't finish, and it goes across your entire front line and your midfield.
Rashford hasn't been able to finish for a long time, but he keeps getting in good spots. Fernandez keeps getting good spots, and they played Pogba, who hasn't really gotten that much time over the last 6 months, 4 months. So he's breaking off some rust, and he looked
Still
pretty
looked like
imposing.
better than the rest of the players.
Yeah, he looked better. So I mean, yeah, they might have lost, but that's a loss they can take if they're going to play better in the league.
It's not though. It's not a loss you can take as Manchester United losing in the FA Cup against Middlesbrough.
They're not Man United with Sir Alex anymore.
It's
so
an
they're
epic
not gonna
failure.
Get titles when they keep hiring people like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I don't think they're terrible. I don't think they're dying or whatever. Arsenal to me are still far behind Man United.
They're like basically in the exact same position in the league at the moment.
Because you know what? United did not spend any money in January. And they didn't spend a lot in last summer. They're waiting for this new manager. They're going to drop a shitload in this summer. Mark my words.
They've dropped a shitload for the last 5 years, and it's done nothing. I don't know that that's the solution, but I'm sure we can talk about that on another podcast because that'll be with the Man U guys on here. You can talk forever about it. We move on to Wednesday. We got Man City. Let me just get my phone out here. Man City versus Brentford at 2:45. Man City, Brentford. I mean, I sort of feel for.
Head up because sorry, not gave very much.
No, I just had to get my phone sorted. I mean, I feel sorry for Brentford a bit here, having to travel to the Etihad. They play each other recently already as well, and Man City was pretty comfortable 2-0 win.
I think it was.
Not JP, not a heck of a lot to talk about here. Should be straightforward for Man City.
Yeah. Brentford's in 14th. Man City's in first by 9 points, and I'm gonna say. 3-0, 2-0 again.
Brentford lost 4 in a row, Luke. That's a lot for a team that started so well in the league. Are we looking at that Brentford side sort of putting themselves into the relegation conversation if they keep falling off?
I think it's very fair. I think it was always going to be interesting. I think they started well, and I don't believe any of us were expecting them to start that well. So for them to be slipping back into the position that I thought they might find themselves in, I'm not too surprised. And a lot of the players that we thought would really light up the league, Ivan Toney scored an insane amount of goals in the chat. Well, he's done next to nothing, and then what's he done recently other than slag off his own where he's playing?
Fair. Yeah.
No, I think people read too much into that, but you have to start wondering, don't you? And I think if they're going to get battered here, of course, City are just going to run through them. And then the next couple of weeks could be really difficult. I think you could definitely see them slipping down, but the teams below them are so bad.
They might get away with it just because of that. That maybe they have enough points on the table for the rest of the season to get by. Teams like Norwich, who I think snuck out of the bottom 3 as well.
They're out. They're on 17th right now with 1 point ahead.
For now, certainly they're out of that bottom 3, and the Burnley's obviously down there. Watford teasing it. Newcastle, Everton. Those teams are all kind of in the similar scenario to Brentford, so maybe they can squeeze themselves out. We got Norwich. Speaking of Norwich, got Norwich versus Palace at 2:45 as well. Oh man, I mean, is there a lot of time that we need to spend on this game?
Well, I'm going to say
JP.
I think Norwich, as I control my brain here, Norwich. I think they're going to get a result, and most of you guys probably will not agree with me, but their form in the last 5 games since Dean Smith has taken over has had an uptick.
They play better football. I'll give them that. They're still not scoring goals.
The international break with a win.
Yeah, they're still not scoring a ton of goals, but they look better. They've lost. They've won their last 2 games. So Norwich,
if they could win this game, it can put a nice gap between them and the actual bottom 3, and allow them that mess up ability. I mean, and they could put them on points with Everton. So
a lot of games to be played. I think it's
there is a lot of
soon
games
to be worried about that. But yeah,
Crystal Palace should have enough, but I would not be surprised if Norwich.
Palace getting some players back too. Eze's back. There's a couple other players in that side that they've missed considerably. So we'll see. Didn't do a lot in the transfer window either. Neither of these teams. So next up, we will talk about Spurs versus Southampton. I'm going to let one of you guys ask me questions.
Brian, why do you hate yourself so much and choose to support Spurs?
Oh, I don't. I mean, it's great. It's fun supporting Spurs right now. Things are good.
What do you think then, Bri? Southampton aren't a bad team,
Southampton are difficult side. Yeah, they are. It's at Spurs. It's at home for Spurs. Spurs have played really well at home since Conte's come in. Southampton, a difficult team to break down. I do think with these two new players we brought in and getting rid of that deadwood, specifically a few players that were kind of dragging us down somewhat when it came to the unity in the squad, are gone. Watched them play at the weekend, and it was the Spurs side that were like that we're starting to see it a little bit when it comes to what Conte's bringing as far as the energy and the pressing, and it'll be a difficult game, but I think Spurs should have enough to beat Southampton at home.
Fair enough. JP, what do you think? Any crazy feelings on this one?
The only thing I'm interested in is to see how Spurs work in these new buy purchases, the holding mid and the winger, and to see how these guys can kind of do, because I'm a little interested in them.
Just to quickly talk about
Bryce.
that.
Fuck you, Bryce.
They talked about. Have you guys been on for 10 minutes yet? I need to tell you. There you go. So we played a Premier League team, Brighton, at the weekend with those two players came on. Bentancur came on in the last 10 minutes. Kulu came on about 15-20 minutes left. Both look quite good and quite comfortable against the Premier League side in a 3-1 win. So give you a sense of it. They fit in pretty quickly. I don't know whether they'll start or not, but good looking players, look fit and physical in size for the Premier League. So I feel like they'll fit pretty comfortably. Next game up, we got your boys Villa versus Leeds, hosting Leeds. This is a derby, right? Would you guys consider this a proper derby there, Luke?
No, it's not a derby because we're nowhere near each other.
Too far away.
Yeah, too far. But I suppose
we have a little bit of a bad blood.
I think that's what I'm thinking of is the bad blood.
There's some bad blood.
Yeah.
I think JP said it in the chat that we're in, and he said as long as Bamford doesn't score, I'm happy. And
as long as he doesn't play.
Yeah, he's haunted. We scored a hat trick. Was it last season against us?
Yeah, and it's probably going to be the last hat trick he ever scores. I fucking hate him.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of painful. But do you know what, Bri? I think we're going to smash him. I really do. I think Villa right now. Did you see Coutinho's goal in the international games?
I didn't.
Oh man, for Brazil, absolute peach. And apparently,
like 35 yards out.
Yeah, Fabrizio was saying and was tweeting that apparently Coutinho's agent, he said he hasn't been this happy in years. He said he feels a lot more contented. He was back playing for Brazil. Love that. And it's incredible that he's managed to feel that level of contentment in Birmingham after living in Barcelona. Something is very wrong there.
Content with the football is arguably what it's about, right? It's like he's getting to play. He's important again. I think a player like that needs to be important, needs to be the one of the first names on the team sheet, and he's getting back to that position. I think it's going to make him feel pretty good. JP, how are you feeling about Leeds at the weekend?
I mean, I don't like playing Leeds ever. I don't like their style of play necessarily against Villa. But Villa used this time well. We had two friendly games against Brentford and I think it's called Mold from.
I think you had it the first time out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's Mold. And I think that Steven Gerrard really used this break well as a time to he sent the guys out. They could have a vacation for like 3 or 4 days, and then they all were due back. And he really drilled them. And I think we're getting some guys back from injury, like Leon Bailey. I'm really interested to see what we got going on.
How do you feel about Bailey, JP? I'm still.
But he doesn't
really is worrying me how injured.
He doesn't fit the system CVG wants to play. He plays a very Christmas tree, a 4-3-2-1, with two kind of 10s in that 2 role. And Bailey to me is more of a wide player in like a 4-2-3-1 or like a 4-3-3. Bailey to me is a huge player, but I don't think he fits the system. It'll be really interesting to see where he goes. I could see him playing up top for a little bit as that center striker for a little bit because he's so fast. And with Coutinho and Buendia, if Coutinho is coming back to what he can be with Buendia playing up to the level that we know he should be, I think we're going to have plenty to break down Leeds and to knock a few. There is a result coming here for Villa in the next few days where we're going to score 4 or 5 past an opponent, and we have a run of fixtures that we could do it in.
Nice, some confidence going there, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, we got Newcastle coming up, and I want us to just fucking split their throat.
That's gonna be a different game now with their players they brought in. Different team.
Matty Target with a goal against us. Watch it.
No, he can't play. We loaned him. He can't play.
Yeah, he's
It depends on the agreement. I don't like.
No.
do we know that?
no, it's a
No,
rule.
that's
It's
a
a rule in
rule.
the league.
You can't play against your
Oh,
parent
is it?
team.
Yeah.
Really? When did that
Yeah,
become
I
a-
mean, you
I
should
thought
probably
it
know
was
this
just
on the
written in
EPL
contract.
podcast.
Has been for years.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
I've not been playing enough Championship Manager, it would seem.
There you go. All right, well, we move on to Thursday. Brendan Rodgers' Leicester goes back to Anfield to face his old club, 2:45. Leicester struggling lately. Lost today 4-1 against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup. Got spanked. Had a pretty good side out there too. Against a Nottingham Forest side who has been playing pretty well. Richie Larea new in for that Nottingham side from Toronto FC. Player that's moved up from Canada. Got to mention these players because they're coming from our home country here. Leicester, Liverpool. I mean, Brendan Rodgers he's fallen apart a little bit, isn't he, JP?
Brendan Rodgers, to me, he is Arsene Wenger 2.0. And I've said this.
I think that's generous.
Years.
I mean, I think Arsene Wenger won a lot before.
Yeah, that's true. Arsene Wenger, I mean, especially the latter part of Arsene Wenger to me.
Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers is the best of the rest. And I got friends here who literally rave about him. They think he's one of the best managers in the world. And he might be one of the best managers in the world. But he has a ceiling cap and he hits it early. About 2 years into a program, and then he can't break that cap. And Leicester, they won, what was it, the FA Cup this last year? They did well. But he can't get a team to continually finish above where they need to. I mean, Leicester was one of the best teams to finish near the top 4 for the past 3 years, and he's failed.
He can't get over the line, can he?
So to me, this is an ass whooping they're about ready to get. I think Liverpool's going to hit them 4-0.
Liverpool playing some good football right now, Luke. They're they got Luis Diaz who's come in up for big transfer from Porto. Really nice forward, good forward. It's going to add some competition in that front three. Again, that front three the way they're rotating at Liverpool and the way they just continue to be very good and dominating teams and just press. A player that's going to add a lot for them, Liverpool wise, from a depth perspective, quality as well. What are your thoughts on this game? You said pretty comfortable for Liverpool at Anfield?
I think with Leicester's current form and situation, I think absolutely. And I think I just have to give Liverpool a shout out in that African Cup of Nations, AFCON, everyone losing their players. As JP said, managers freaking out about having to let them go. Everyone looking at Liverpool going, oh, well, the title race is over. And it shows you the strength of that squad that with the rotation. Minamino stepped up, Jota doing phenomenal things as usual. It is kind of unbelievable how good.
Harvey White kid, is it Harvey White, that midfielder
came back?
Harvey Elliott.
Harvey Elliott, thank you. Harvey Elliott came in today or yesterday.
18.
Looked good as well. Scored a nice goal.
It's good. JP, I missed it. I think my headphones cut out as well. You mentioned about the Keenan Davis incident.
I did not. I forgot.
I didn't think. So yeah, Brian, I don't know if you saw.
Go ahead.
So
what game is this? Oh, is this related to this? Okay,
this is Leicester. Yeah. So today in that defeat, a fan ran on when they were celebrating. Keenan Davis's loan from Villa. He just hasn't been able to kick it, but we all still quite a big fan of him, and he's been scoring a ton. He's scored, I think, the last 2 or 3 games. And as they're celebrating, fan runs on, hits him in the back of the head, like
trying to assault him.
Brian, as I'm talking about this, do yourself a favor and Google Keenan Davis.
Can you put this up on the video, right now?
Yeah. Look at the size of Keenan Davis, and if we can,
just put up Nottingham Forest player assaulted, the level of insanity that this is. A few years ago, Jack Grealish got hit in the back of the head with a player. This is the same shit.
Exactly the same.
It's just the exact same thing, except it's not a rivalry.
No, it's just some stupid Leicester fan that's realizing that the team.
This is the shit it's starting to happen in France constantly, and they need to crack down. Literally, the EPL officials should say, if this happens, you will play the next 5 matches behind closed doors, because it's absolutely unacceptable.
Let me bring it up and we'll share it while it's.
It's something. It's topical. It's definitely worth a watch if we can load that bad boy in. But I'll let you see it, Brian, and react.
This guy in the black, he just starts hitting him.
Look at him.
Oh shit! After match. Whoa.
I don't know what that is, but we'll keep watching it.
Hooliganism is clearly dead, guys.
Yeah, that's silly. So I'm guessing this is probably just some
This
sort
is
of
after probably.
response of what happened. But what that's madness. Like how are these fans getting onto the pitch doing that stuff? It's quite absurd, really. Isn't it?
Well, the security's not
It is
that great,
so
but
bad.
just any fan that would choose to run on the pitch, if you can do it, go after a small player. Keenan Davis is this unit,
Huge.
strong,
He's like 6'4".
massive lad. He's a big lad, like he's a big, strong kid. But there was a point, and this is something that we should probably mention is, off the back of these things, and as JP mentioned, this has happened quite recently, quite a few times in France recently. And someone wrote an opinion piece and said this needs to be addressed now because before too long, this won't be a punch, this will be a stab.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And it is crazy. So, obviously, I'm sure the club will come out and condemn the fan and say all that stuff. But this is happening far too regularly in too many leagues.
Yep.
And it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it could lead to something much worse if they're able to get something into the ground, or if they find something they can assault somebody with. It's brutal, man. I hate seeing that stuff. In regards to the football itself, I think we'd all agree Liverpool here should be pretty comfortable for them based on Leicester's recent form. The next game at 2:45 on Thursday is Arsenal go to Wolves.
This one's a good one. This tasty to me.
This has got tasty written all over it. I think Wolves
Man of the week, match of the week.
Probably Wolves game. What do we call it? Game of the week. Wolves unbeaten in their last 5. They've won 4 of their last 5. Their form is very good. Wolves at the moment. Very difficult team to beat. Very difficult team to score on. I think they got some of the best defensive statistics going. Arsenal on a bit of a dip. They've lost one and drawn one of their last 2. Won the previous 3 to that, but haven't looked as strong as they did for a good little run there. Also didn't get anything over the line and let go of arguably their best forward in Aubameyang during the transfer window. Left themselves a little bit weaker against a Wolves side that are really difficult to break down right now. Luke, any thoughts on this game, Arsenal Wolves? I think this has got 1-0 Wolves written all over it for me.
I think Arsenal have been playing great football, and I want to shout out to Ben White because I think Ben White got so much abuse.
Proves some people wrong, doesn't he? Yep.
Well, 50 million was a huge price tag, but he was a young English centre-back. He's a good player. He plays the ball well. He fits into the Arsenal system. They lose a couple of games at the start of the season. Everyone's like, wow, what a joke this is, 50 million. And look how solid he's been. Like, even from a fantasy perspective, he's still very cheap, and he's been very consistently clean sheeting. So I think Arsenal are playing far better. But the big thing, as you said, Brian, was that is what a lot of the analysts have been saying is like, you let all these players leave and you brought in no one. I don't think they signed anyone.
They wanted to sign a striker. They put everything into Vlahovic, and Vlahovic was never going there. And that was just
he was never in. He just took one look and was like, I'm not
very naive from them, and arguably probably from the manager. It seems like Arteta thought he was going to get his man, and it wasn't even close, but by the sounds of it.
Yeah, and they don't have, this isn't Liverpool. I don't think you could argue that Arsenal have the same squad rotation depth as other clubs. If they pick up 1 or 2 injuries, they could have really shot themselves in the foot here. And I think I'm
they use COVID protocol, don't you know? They just say, COVID. He got COVID.
No, they've changed it after the Spurs one because that always happens.
It was ridiculous. But I think you could have a point, Bri. Wolves are playing really good football. Didn't they sign 1 or 2 sharp players?
Yeah, I think they bolstered the squad a touch. It wasn't massive, but it was and I can't think of the players' names at the moment. There wasn't a lot, but they did lose Traore, which I think is a bit of a miss.
Did you see that? Now I don't know. I want to ask you, Brian. Apparently there was some weird, graphic going on. I'm not sure that apparently he was offered an audacious salary at Tottenham and said no and went to Barcelona for literally 18,000 a week. And the rumors were that Spurs were offering him 100 or something ridiculous. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he came through the Camp Nou. It's his team. It's his club. Home. It's where he's from. It's essentially like he gets to go back home. And I think I think any of us, if you're a rich footballer and you have the opportunity to go back and play for the team you came through the academy for, you'll take a pay cut for the team. And that he's probably promised once we get past this messed up situation, we'll make sure you get paid in advance. Absolutely. And he's going to take that gig. He also, there was rumor that he was going to play right wing back under Conte, or Conte was thinking about playing him in that. He didn't want to play in that position. So that was a big part of
guaranteed, didn't he?
Part of the decision making. I get that
am I
too.
Missing something? am I missing something like where this transfer window has had teams like Tottenham, which, like realistically should be obviously higher up than they are, but are a good team and have good money and good, good stadium and all this stuff. And then Barcelona, like this is still the Adama Traore that has no end product. Am I missing something? He's not changed a whole lot.
I think Barcelona are desperate for places where they can potentially find quality and still get a deal. And that's why they went for him. It seems to me like they don't, they've spent a bit of money, but the structure of the deals over the length of time and the wage like demands of Traore are going to be considerably lower, and he's one of them. So maybe they can feel like they can get something out of him. But he's supposedly replacing Dembele, who has a massive injury problem, but still probably produces way more than Traore does. But the season plays probably half the game. But it's Barcelona. It's the situation they're in. But anyway, but back to the Wolves Arsenal. But good question about Traore and what that situation with the transfer. JP, Wolves for you.
Well, according to Soccernomics, the home side gets a 80% chance, an 8.8 whatever, fuck it, 80% chance of a goal advantage by playing at home. So I'm going to give this to Wolves because I think they have a goal in them. I think they could potentially put 2 against Arsenal, who have kind of tailed off a little bit in the recent weeks, and with them selling a lot of guys, I feel like they really needed 2 solid players to come in this window, and it didn't happen.
It's a big miss, I think.
Yeah.
I think they're going to pay for that. I think Chelsea are going to pay for that. I think United are going to pay for that. It's a lot of teams who at the top you expected to do to
and Arsenal let a lot of squad guys go.
Yeah.
They seem to be possibly maybe trying to control wages a little bit too, so they can save up for the summer. I mean, Lacazette is out in the summer.
Yep.
They have that young striker who's out in the summer, so they're going to be going for a striker. But I just don't see them having Keita. I don't think they have enough to potentially break down Connor Cody, who I rate very highly. I think he is just an absolute
he's great
stud of a center back.
Very organized. Very
organized.
Keeps that team really.
He's the right-footed Tyrone Mings. He's so good.
Had to get the dig in there.
I got to.
All right, lads.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
Yeah. Sorry, he is a good player. He's done really well to make sure that Wolves are steady in that back four, and they have been very good under the new manager, whose name is escaping me at the moment. But 1-0, 1-0. I think they have the lowest amount of clean sheets in the league at the moment, and their goal difference is very low as well. So Arsenal going to be difficult with the forwards they have to break down that Wolves team.
If Wolves win, they jump Arsenal.
Yep.
Tottenham, if they win, they would jump Arsenal if Arsenal lose. So I mean, this potentially has a little bit of a dagger for Arsenal because so much could go wrong. Spurs have less games. Wolves are on the same amount of games and would jump Arsenal. This would really kind of hamper Arsenal's chances for a European spot. Again.
It's a big game. It's a big game. It has a lot of things going for it. So it'll be a fun watch on Thursday.
Yeah.
That's our game week, folks. Lots to look forward to over the next few days. I love the good midweek games. Get to midweek games and the games on the weekend. You get lots of football.
I don't get to fucking watch them.
Well, that's not our part. You get to fail some way for some reason living in California.
Yeah,
the rest of it is a bonus. So we got a bit of a special chat to have here for the last little while on the show here. JP, I'm going to let you sort of talk a little bit about what it is when it comes to some changes that some teams have made or a team has made that hopefully leads to that happening with the rest of the league as a start of a good trend. Why don't you roll with it, brother?
Awesome. All right. So Crystal Palace recently came out with a new program, and it's about helping players move on from the academy setup when they have been released. And already the initial freaking name is escaping me. But the program is a 3-year program. It stems for the ages of players between the ages of 18 and 21. And so this program is utilized to help players who have been cut from the academy transition back into A, normal everyday life, B, a different job atmosphere, or C, into another academy, which is super nice. First off, there's so many players that don't make it. I mean, what do they say? 1% of all the kids who join an academy will ever actually make it pro. So the numbers are stacked against you. If you get to the ages of 15 to 18 in an academy setting, you should be looking to go play somewhere and make a wage somewhere. Now, where and how much, that's a whole different ballgame. But a lot of guys that are at EPL clubs or even championship clubs, they might get to that 18-year-old and their contract runs out and they're not going to get that professional contract that they so desire. So a club releases them. When they release them, you're not just releasing the player, you're cutting off so much to them. They lose friends, they lose support systems, they lose schooling, they lose places where most of them kind of call home. And so guys kind of take on a trauma sense from this, and some of them even get like PTSD from being released from these academies.
Yeah.
Luke, you jump in for a quick sec?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I just wanted to kind of add a little bit of an insight here. So no, it wasn't. I had two friends at school. There was one lad when I was growing up, Morgan Evans, and Morgan was one of the most naturally talented footballers. Like he had a stinking attitude, right? And he kind of fell in with the wrong crowd. He says, I think there was some talk that he was sold to Liverpool for quite a high amount of money as a youngster. I could never really validate that. He went through a bad injury, didn't make it. But I know Morgan. I've known him for a number of years. I've kind of seen him on socials, and he went on a reality TV show. He actively talks about he had a bit of a breakdown himself. And then I know another lad who used to play for the Villa Academy. Was without, actually they both did, and this other lad Lee was the most ridiculously talented footballer I've ever seen. And he just walked away. He decided he didn't want to be a footballer. His cousin was Nathan Delfonso, JP, yeah. and Lee was just unbelievable. And I remember chatting to him years later. Lee now he's an actor, and he's an extra in a lot of TV shows, and I can remember asking him years ago why, and he just said, I just feel like I'm losing so much of myself. He said that I don't feel I've got opportunities to kind of really live my life. And I think this is the problem is, as you said, JP, with less than 1% making it, all those motivational things you see on Instagram, this is not, oh, get up and dust yourself off. This is, you need to be at 140, 150%. And when they get taken into these youth systems, and this is why the whole youth system needs to be overlooked in the UK, because we are not fundamentally generating good talent, not well enough, because you have all these incredible young players.
Not for the bad side product, no.
Yeah, man, they're signed on these deals at like 7, 8. I honestly would make it illegal for clubs to have players under 12 or 13, because I don't think a kid is old enough or mentally ready enough to be dealing with that. So I think it's a brilliant thing. I don't think enough has been covered on this, and I think Crystal Palace really, really have outdone themselves here. And I think every club should be sitting up and going, right, we need to help these kids set up for a future. And honestly, it could be as easy as letting them all pick a trade. The world is crying out for tradesmen. They could move anywhere in the world and get a job. And the trade, you could teach them trade in a year. And while they're playing, they do it twice a week, and they go out as an elect and they pick it. And then at least they have an actual viable skill. And it doesn't work out for them. And JP, obviously, we were talking earlier, like that poor lad, was it last season, the Man City academy player, Jeremy Whiston, 18 years of age. And he said, I think it was the suicide. He said he committed suicide because he said he couldn't
make it. He wasn't going to make it anywhere else, he says.
Like that. And he struggled to see his friends who played around going on and still playing, and yet he wasn't. And it's incredible and so sad that, and that's someone's son, someone's cousin, someone's like that. Paul lad had such ambition and such a life in front of him, coaching and everything. And if we could, we only need one of those for it to be a real problem. And I think this is overdue. So I know I've gone on a bit here, but it is something that I think has been needed for so long, especially in the UK. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Crystal Palace deserve to be honored for it. Like, it really is fantastic.
Yeah, they call it their 3-year aftercare program. And it really helps the STEM players by giving them a mentor or a connection to the club, basically an aftercare officer who in turn would then check in with them weekly and review with them what's going on in their life, the progress they're making or the progress they're not making. They can help them get into programs to help them learn different trades, like you were talking about. They try and set them up with work opportunities, which is super important because some guys, when they get out of the program, the academy, they don't know what skills they have. They some of them don't have any. Some of them don't have any real world work experience. So they need to go in and they need to get some of that, and they get job opportunities from that. They can get counseling, they can get mental support, mental health support. And a lot of these guys, when they don't make it, some of them sadly do turn to alcoholism, drugs, partying. They get in, like you said, with the wrong crowd. And so they try and keep them from taking those paths and make the transition into, the everyday Joe like us a little bit easier. And
don't put me in your category.
Yeah, easy, buddy.
You are a Joe, and Brian Island is a successful
podcaster making millions. His podcast, he's rivaling Joe Rogan.
You're doing this in the garage. Don't put us.
I wonder, guys, how much we think this will influence other clubs in hopefully in the Premier League in particular, and of course across the planet. I think every club needs to have this in their system, right? I think in every league. I think this is just something that could be part of a club. Like
it gets hard when you get to lower leagues, because I imagine that this could potentially run at a little bit of a cost.
When I say every league, I don't mean every league in the English tier. I mean every league in the world, in the MLS, in the Serie A, in the Spanish league. I'd like to see this adopted as a football way of kind of managing things. I think players who play in those lower leagues they recognize they're not going to be living off the wage that they make playing football, and they're probably going to school doing other things. But when you're in the top tier, think you might get into the top tier, that's when this issue arises where they might not be able to get past it. And that's I think it's a huge thing, and it's great to see a team like any team do it. But Palace, good for them for doing it, and I hope that we see that at Spurs, and I hope that you guys see it at Villa. It's incredibly helpful. You see these young players, and man, to be in that situation, imagine yourself at 19, 20 years old, and everything's going really well, and then you get a massive injury, or you just, for whatever reason, the manager doesn't pick you, and your entire world falls apart. I just can't imagine that, and what that means for your mental health and what that means for your well-being in general. It's incredibly difficult for these kids, and they're kids. Let's be honest, to get past.
Well,
that.
I think it realizing as well that human beings are habitual creatures. This is you're going in deeper now. This is the reason why so many of us struggle in lives when we need change, and we're looking at change. Whether so many people stay in jobs they hate because the thought of changing, and how COVID completely killed my work. I had to start a company, and it's been difficult. But look at me go. But it is for youngsters. My young brother is 21, right? And when he was born, I was 11 years old. We've got a very, very close connection. And when he was looking at university even at 18, the stress levels, and that's just an ordinary thing. Like, this is not a lad who's been put through a youth system for 10, 11, 12 years,
groomed.
Told you're going to do this. It is groomed and told on all this and all this academy and told to look up to the Jack Grealishes and the Phil Fodens. And when the realism is that for every one or two Phil Foden, Jack Grealishes, there are 40, 50, 60, 70,000 young lads who maybe manage to make Div 3, Div 4 or nothing. It's incredible to me that it's taken this long, especially with this new focus on mental health. And Bri, I think you said it bang on. Every club should be tuning in and looking at this and saying, right, we need to be bigger, we need to be better, and it's going to cost us, and we need to put that money in, because hopefully what that's going to give is a better rounded footballer that is able to deal with more. So if they do step up, how many times have we seen players lose form? Why do they lose form? Because mentally their health goes down. So maybe by building them up a bit more and making them more of a
confidence in their life as a human around over and above just being a footballer, they get other skills that make them more confident as well, and would arguably help them on the pitch too. Like if you feel good about yourself. In regards to the mental health thing, I'm going to do a bit of a plug here. We did a mental health show on the Tottenham on Tour channel.
It was a great show.
Thank you.
It was a great show, man.
In the chat, I'm posting the GoFundMe there, and I'm also going to post the link to the actual video. We did a 3.5-hour special. It was quite long. So if you can sit through the whole thing, that's great. If you can't, and you want to watch bits and pieces, just chug along, and there's spots you can check it out. But we had a couple of guests on. Tara Hancock from Sport Against Suicide. She focuses on youth football particularly, and some of these kids, and it's exactly some of these situations on how to deal with the stress of what it is they're going through, and mental health support that these kids need at starting at I think at 13 or 14. So her organization is essentially a massive part, or hopefully going to be a massive part of this type of transition from not really paying attention to it from it becoming something that every club is going to be doing. So go and check out that stream if you don't mind. And if you can donate, any little bit helps. $1 here, $2 here, whatever you can do. We're at $717 raised for the last couple of days, which is great. Our goal is to get to a couple $1,000, and we're going to give 1,000 to Cam H here in Canada and Sport Against Suicide in the UK. So hop on over to that channel, Tottenham on Tour. It's in the comments there, and check it out. And I just want to chuck that in there. But Luke, you wanted to add something?
No, it's a great thing, man. I'd give money, but I gave it all to the Freedom Convoy. So
oh God, get out of here.
No. I think absolutely, man. Just all seriousness, it's a great thing, and I'll definitely put a donation. It was a great show, and we should be plugging ourselves here, Brian, as well. Remember, we did a great podcast before we had the beautiful, wonderful JP California on the staff. And JP, I'm not sure if you've actually heard it. You should have a little listen. We had a mental health episode, and it was brilliant. We got a load of very famous people in Canada and people that we know to talk about, what it means to them, and from also with the football stories that we've done with. Do you remember the great chat we had with Stephen Colwell? Listening to him as a young boy going through it. So we actually make some
lots on this
content.
channel as well. So go back to some of those old videos. Definitely worth watching. JP, that's educate yourself on what we've done so far, buddy.
How dare I?
I know. No, this is good stuff though. I'm glad you brought this to the table. It's a massive issue.
I actually reached out to a player I know who's in the LA Galaxy Academy, and I asked him, and he's 15 now, and he's been in the academy for about 3 years. And I'm like, tell me, what do they control? And he said everything.
Yeah.
He gets in at 7 a.m. and they give him breakfast because
it's the army.
They monetize everything that he does. So they can control his calorie intake. They can control his performance. They can control everything. I mean, he goes literally breakfast, school for an hour and a half at the site. Then he trains. Then they have a 30-minute break period where they get a shower and hang out and get some more food. Then they have school again. Then they get lunch. Then they have to train again. Then they have school again. Then they have a seminar, usually according to performances and stuff. And then they have dinner. Sometimes they have dinner out there. I mean, you're talking 7 a.m. till 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And, when that's a 45-minute drive, you got to add that on top both ways. You're talking, that's a 10-hour day for a freaking 13-year-old, 15-year-old. It's crazy.
It's a lot. They're being asked a lot to do a lot. And we have to be understanding that they're humans, and these are also underdeveloped humans, or just
slowly
becoming adults, right? And you can overdo it very easily. And if you put enough pressure on them, you can have circumstances where
if they've never had that freedom of controlling their own life, and all that stuff's kind of been given to them, when you're cut off from that, imagine everything's provided for you, everything's picked, planned, and now you have to do everything. Yeah. Not only that, but it's whoa, what do I do with all this free time? How do I do this stuff? I've never gone shopping for freaking food and had to make my own meals and living on my own. That doesn't happen. So, you've never been on your own at all.
For sure. It's a great subject, and I'm glad we're discussing it. I think we should try to, if we can get your friend there on the channel, that'd be amazing. We should do another mental health episode, follow up from the last one we did, and of course keep this as a conversation amongst all the channels we're involved in. And whenever we get an opportunity to speak about it, we should, especially in this situation with young players, and hopefully making their lives easier. And they make our lives easier, especially during this fucked up time that we live in right now. It's having football and having these chats with you guys and being able to do channels. It's what keeps us sane, and they're kind of doing the job for us in getting out there on the pitch and playing football. So it's massively important that we talk about it and that we put it out there for sure.
I do gotta say, I am looking forward to the EPL coming back this week, though, and that will help my mental health.
100%, 100%, guys. Yeah, I think this is a good spot to probably end the show. Luke, did you want to say something before we go?
No, just JP's a great guy. Just
Got to make that transition. That was a good one.
That was a good one. No, it was a fun show, and I think we can all agree that David Convery is dead to the channel at this stage.
Yeah, David's not on the channel anymore. He's dead to us. Connie, you prick, show up next time if you even get this far in watching the show, because it doesn't seem like you're interested anymore. Anyway, good way to end it.
Jesus.
Get him out.
Get out of my club. Get out of my YouTube channel. No, it's all good. We love you, Connie. But you show up again next time, buddy. At least let us know.
We love you. But sort out.
We love you anyway. We will be back. We'll be back after this week. We'll probably do a show either after the game Thursday, or we'll do a show Friday to preview the weekend's games. Lots to talk about, hopefully, and good luck. Luck to your team on the weekend. Hopefully, the teams that we all need to win.
Good luck to you, sir, and your team.
The teams we need to win, and the teams we don't lose. That's all we can ask for. But great time, Luke and JP, and we'll see everybody soon. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers, guys. Ciao.
Bye.
Thanks, boys.
Bye.
This is the North End.